got your webcam on, you're not going to appear in it at all. Cool. Okay, so happy Monday, everybody. What I thought we would do to start this session is I just want to open up the chat box and hear from you guys in a word or two, just how you're feeling. I've had a really busy day. I've been rushing around like crazy. I just thought it'd be really nice to just check in and see how everyone else is doing today. Whether that's like full of energy or feeling super calm or just really hectic like me. So let's open up the chat box if I can manage that. Yeah, cool. Chat box is open. Let me know as well if you've never been before. Always really nice to welcome people who are new here. But yeah, let me know, how are you doing? What word describes your state of mind, or just how you're doing right now? Okay, first one that's come is stressed out. Good. I've got someone alongside me feeling stressed out. Anyone else? Can anyone improve on that? Someone else, show some solidarity, please. Tired, overwhelmed. Okay. Newbie here, hectic. I'm hearing the emphasis in that hectic. Okay, we've got an exhausted. Wow, we're a cheery lot today. Lazy, sad, intense. Yeah, I just want to sleep. Melissa says Monday. Yeah, does that just tell us everything? Maybe that tells us everything we need to know about how you're doing. We have a hectic schedule today. Yeah, okay, I'm not the only one. What to do now? That's a great question. What shall we do now about it? Oh, Natasha says, I'm probably the outlier, but I'm feeling ecstatic. Natasha, I'm really glad that you said that, because yeah, sometimes when we get into these spaces and people start giving some feedback, the temptation is to go along with that theme. So great. If you're feeling different, then that's really great to know. Someone says frustrated, someone says too much work. Wow, guys, I can empathize so much. It's really just quite nice and helpful, I think, to check in as well at these times, because I think one of the things that we do really well at StudyStream is this sense of community all around the world. And just knowing that other people right now are feeling like they've got a hectic schedule, feeling pretty stressed out, frustrated, or if you're Natasha, you're feeling ecstatic, which is also fantastic, which I love. So let's turn that chat box off. Thank you so much. Nice. So guys, the way that these sessions work is that I'll give a little introduction to a theme of mindfulness, and then we'll go into a short meditation practice. As I always say, if you've never meditated before, or you're not really that sure what mindfulness is, you're very welcome to follow along. I guide it for people who have never tried it before. I always like to say as well, though, because as we can see, there is a lot of emotion that comes into these sessions. And with mindfulness, we do take a moment of stillness where we allow things that would usually distract us to just be put to one side for a few minutes. And sometimes that can be so welcome and really calming and enjoyable. And sometimes it can feel like quite a lot, quite heavy. If there is any challenging emotion or thoughts going on, you know, there's little else to take us away from that. It can feel quite a lot. So if you do feel like it's a lot, please do what you need to do to look after yourself, whether that is to just take a moment and a breath away from the practice, or maybe refocus your attention somewhere else to something that's going to feel a little bit more stable and grounded. And then if you feel able to, you're always welcome to come back to the practice itself. But usually, overwhelmingly, the practice is experienced really positively. But I'm just saying, don't worry if it doesn't feel entirely amazing. That's okay too. And just do what you need to do. And then after that, we're going to open up for a little bit of feedback. How did you find the session? Any questions? And then at the end of the session, I will head off and you guys can have the open mic session that we always have available after mindfulness, so you can unmute and chat and hang out. So having said all of that, let's give a little introduction to what mindfulness is. It can be described in different ways with different emphasis put in different aspects to what the practice is. I guess the aspect to which I'm leaning towards right now as I think about an introduction is around an opportunity to pause, because I'm feeling like that's a really important thing for me in this moment. And that is one aspect of what mindfulness is. So often we spend a lot of our time rushing from one thing to the next. We have a to-do list, we have something to study for, we have a deadline approaching, and so we go and go and go and go. And mindfulness is an opportunity to just hit pause on that for a little bit and to just sink into how we're actually doing in that moment. So it can help us with both our own well-being, so we can find some balance and some stability, because sometimes when we're constantly in what we call the doing mode of mind, it can be really beneficial. We can get things done, but sometimes that does lead to exhaustion or to burnout or to lots of stress. So it can help us to feel better, but also it can help us with our productivity. It can help us to focus, to not get distracted so easily, because mindfulness is also a practice of refocusing the attention, being able to place our attention where we wish it to be, when we wish it to be there. And again, we know that there's a lot of technology and things in our lives that often beep and buzz and distract us, and that's okay. Technology is wonderful, but it's also about our relationship to it that determines whether the experience on a moment-to-moment basis is a positive one, a neutral one, or a negative one. So it's kind of taking back control. So we're able to say, okay, everything else that doesn't need to be done right now can be put to one side. What I really need to focus on is whatever it is. And then I found myself over time a little bit making excuses to make myself a cup of tea, kind of go down from about 17 per hour. And I'm probably on about 13 an hour now. So gradually I'm reducing those excuses for distraction bit by bit. So that's a little bit about mindfulness. One of the main ways in which we practice and develop the skill of mindfulness is through meditation practice. So that's what we're going to be practicing here. It's taking a few minutes out of our regular activities and training our minds, training that mindfulness muscle around attention, but also, as well as where we choose to place our attention, it's the way in which we place our attention. It's can we bring a sense of curiosity and kindness and acceptance to the moment as well. And over time, if we practice, just like if we go to the gym, we develop our muscles in our bodies. If we continue to practice in the gym of mindfulness meditation, we develop those skills of acceptance, of curiosity, of patience, of hopefully seeing the world and our experiences a little bit fresher, as if we were experiencing it for the first time. So we have the opportunity to see everything with a little bit more depth and vividness. So that's the introduction to mindfulness. Let's move into a practice. And as we move into the practice, my invitation is always to just set an intention to be present for the practice. And that often might mean a little bit of arrangement around you to allow you to do that well. So if there's anything nearby that might distract you, any work that just needs to be pushed to one side, any social media that might beep, so the phone might want to go onto silence, any apps on the computer as well. And just setting the intention to be here for this session. And then when you've done that, I always like to begin the practice, as many of you know, with a little bit of movement. So we can stay seated, but we just always give the body the stretch that it quite probably would really appreciate, right? So a little stretch, a little massage maybe, particularly if we've been sitting down a lot today, which will probably be many of us. And just as you do that, notice how that feels. Notice how the stretch in the body feels and the signal that that gives to our minds. A signal of, okay, we're moving our focus into our bodies for a little bit. We're going to take care of ourselves for the next few minutes. Oh. And there's no rush with this. All right. And then when you're ready, when that feels good, can just allow the body to just slow down and come to stillness. Find a way of sitting that's feeling comfortable. Comfortable yet alert as well. So we send the mind that little message that we're here to relax, but we're here also to tune in to our experience. And then just allowing the eyes to gradually close shut if that feels okay for you. And just settle into this posture, just settling into this way of sitting. As we slowly transition from whatever it was that we were doing, wherever our minds were, just giving ourselves permission to just, for the next few minutes, it's nothing that we need to achieve. Just allowing the body to settle down. As it settles, maybe we notice the mind settles alongside it just a little bit. So letting yourself be held and supported by the chair beneath you. And begin by tuning into the world around you, so the sounds that you can hear. We're not going in search of any particular sound, just allowing our bodies to be like a microphone. Just noticing whatever there is to notice. Whether that sound's coming from far away, wind or rain, cars, people's voices. Sounds coming from closer by. Maybe the sound of the computer, the movement of your chair. What sounds coming from you, your breathing, a gentle movement. Just allowing these sounds to come into your awareness, hang around, and then just gently leave. And as best you can, not being caught up with the sounds. No need to imagine what's making it or where it's coming from. Just being open to them rather than being drawn into them. You may even choose to set the intention to bring an attitude of curiosity to this noticing of sounds. As we move on from paying attention to sounds, we bring our awareness now into our body. And we're going to begin down in the feet. So starting by noticing what sensations you feel down in the feet. Not looking for anything specific or special, maybe just the sense of air breezing past, of socks wrapped around the feet, of the pressure against the floor maybe. Moving the attention up now into the legs, from the ankles all the way up to the hips. And again, just noticing what there is to notice here. What sensations are present? Quite a lot of the time with mindfulness practice, we actively redirect our attention into the body. seeking to redress some of that imbalance. We spend so much of our time with our thoughts in our heads. But this is an opportunity to connect with how we feel in the body. So noticing in the legs what there is to feel. Maybe a little bit tingly or achy. So consciously feeling these sensations themselves rather than thinking about them. Maybe noticing how the actual sensations rise and fall, come and go. Or if there aren't really many sensations, just noticing that. And slowly moving the awareness up to the pelvis, so around the hips, the pelvis. Again, what sensations are present here? And then moving up to the stomach and the lower back. Maybe you notice a little bit of tension or tightness in the lower back. Maybe you notice there's some holding of the muscles in the stomach, which you can just let go. No need to hold on. Allow the belly to receive the air that comes down from the lungs as it expands as you breathe in and falls back again as you breathe out. Moving the awareness up again into the chest, around the front of the body and the upper back. Again, maybe you notice a gentle rocking motion, this upper part of the torso as you breathe. Maybe the touch of the chair behind you, the rise and fall of the chest. Any all other sensations that you can tune into as well. And then moving on to the arms, and just noticing how they feel. As we tune into the sensations in the body, we start to tune into another way of knowing and understanding ourselves. So just for this moment, just noticing how the arms feel. All the way from the tips of the fingers, the wrists and the forearms, elbows and upper arms. And into the shoulders. And then moving up again to the neck and the head. Noticing how they feel. And again, noticing here if there's any tension, maybe in the facial muscles, that we don't need to be holding on to. And maybe as you bring awareness to this part of the body, you notice it just all by itself, letting go, relaxing. And then expanding our attention to be with the whole body that we've scanned through already, from the feet up to the pelvis, the whole torso, the arms, the shoulders, and the neck and the head, and soaking up the sensations of the whole body. Remembering that there's no objective here, that we ought to be having any particular kind of experience. We may notice that our mind wanders and feels very active. So just reminding ourselves that if this is the case, there's no failure involved. It's just noticing what our minds naturally do, how they're designed. And then just bring the mind back again to the body as a whole, breathing. Any sensations that are present. You may wish, just as we come to the last couple of minutes of the practice, just to check in with your posture. Just check if it is how you had originally intended it to be. Signaling that you are comfortable, but also awake to the moment as you pay attention to the body. As we come to the end of the practice, going back to how we started and tuning into the sounds that are taking place all around you. Sounds near, sounds far. And just listening out for the sound of the bell. And so with that sound, it tells us that we've come to the end of the practice. No need to rush to do anything. But maybe just when you're ready, slowly start to bring a little bit of movement back into the body, like how we started. Gentle stretch, gentle massage. And if your eyes are closed, then when you're ready, you're welcome to open them back up again. Maybe as you do so and you see the faces on screen, there's a moment of appreciation that can be present for each of the people here who you've shared the practice with. So guys, we have just 5 minutes left of this session, and as always, I'll open up the chat box so you can send me a message. You just need to find my name there, Solomon, and you can just let me know, how did you find that practice? What did you notice? Or how are you feeling now? But as well as that, and usually we don't do this, but just for these 5 minutes, I'm gonna enable you to unmute. And if you'd like to thank you. Hi there. That's okay. I was going to say, I'm going to allow you to unmute. So Charlie, our admin, is going to, or maybe I can do it, but we're going to stop recording the session at this point.